We know that team's down there, right? I also know there's like 5 or 6 guys in this lobby, desperate for just a hint of love.
Give 'em the love tonight. Give 'em the love tonight.
That song earlier, did you make that up? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, I just made it up.
It's great.
What was it again?
Something about tonight, but it felt like,
Well, I can't remember the tone. Maybe you can remind me.
na, 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 na. Kind of like that.
Give 'em the love tonight. Give 'em the love tonight. Give 'em the love tonight. Give 'em the love tonight.
WBNT, Channel 5, Boston. Now in stereo.
Video games are the latest craze to sweep the country and most of the world, too. Millions of people are addicted to hours of gazing at electronic images on game screens in arcades and in their own homes. What makes video games so popular? Well, we search for an answer as we begin a special series on Video Fever, games people play.
Part of the fascination is the way the games are designed. Part of it is the sound.
I like the details on it. There's good details on the games.
Electronics is changing so rapidly. With each change in electronics, it brings something new. So this is not a passing fad. It's a very tough dollar. It's getting tougher. It's not easy. We all want that same buck.
Video games, in a sense, are addictive. Not like drugs, more like the need to jog.
Peer relationships, a source of self-esteem, enjoyment in life, are wrapped up in video games, just as they might be in bowling, running with your cronies with whom you run every Sunday or something of the sort. I have not met anybody who can't go through the day in withdrawal from video games.
When you walk into an arcade, any arcade, come with an open mind. An open mind is easy to expand. Question: is it fair to blame juvenile delinquency on the video game craze?
Kids who have not been good at much of anything else. Some of them have turned out to be exceptionally good at some of these video games. Talk about their high scores and their achievements as the most esteemed building activity in their entire life.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Overwatch All-Star Brawl number 4, presented by Star Esports. It's a double elimination tournament dedicated to the Overwatch Tier 3 community, and today we're going up with Scion Esports versus What's Your Peak in a humongous matchup. It's brought to you by Star Esports, casted by 3.007, and of course, the great and grandiose Sir Waltham.
Fantastic to be back, Threep, and fantastic to have you back. I know you took a little bit of a hiatus last week, so ready to get back into it with the Wall Threep action, moving forwards as we usually do on these Monday nights. Now, Threep, we got What's Your Peak and Scion. How do we feel about them?
I am already a little scared because the first map is not a control map. Yes, everyone, tonight we have a very special treat. We have two teams who have decided that, nay, it is not Lijiang Tower where we shall be starting. It's literally Eichenwald, a map that gets banned more often than it is selected. And honestly, Wolf, I'm a little pumped.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting, I think, to see these teams go take battle right on Eichenwald, both looking to kind of show their hands early on, I think. So overall, very excited. I'm real ready to get into it as we head into our losers semifinals. We are waiting a few more minutes here, Threep, as we do get the players all settled in, nestled in. We have a few more minutes before things start looking hairy.
Of course we do. And honestly, I can't blame the quantity of time that these teams are taking. This is not the grand finale, as they say, of the losers bracket, so to speak. We have one more match to play between either of these teams. Whoever wins this matchup is going to go up against Astray, who lost to Citizens in the round 4 of the upper bracket to Citizens in a 3-1 matchup, which definitely is worth checking out on YouTube at Star Esports. But for now, it's going to be Scion and What's Your Peak, the winner of whom, again, going to be going up in the losers bracket finale, and then they'll have the chance to compete in the finals against Citizens, who have made it, as I say, I believe, once again to the finals. I feel like this is kind of their MO. At this point, they're a very well-established team. And so What's Your Peak in Scion Esports, they're in this for the long haul. And I'm not sure that a patch won't drop in between this match and the grand final. So how do you think these teams are going to be planning out their comps?
Oh, as far as comps go, it's hard to say. I don't recall if I've casted for these teams when they've been on this new patch. The patch is relatively new. I mean, it hasn't changed a whole lot. We've been still seeing a lot of Sig Ori. We've been seeing some occasional Hanzo still, the Mei, still kind of fitting in there as well. So not a lot has changed incredibly. I think what we've been seeing most is on maps like Eichenwald, on maps like Ilios maybe. We're starting to see where Diva is becoming a lot more common. She's becoming a lot more competent to counter those Pharas that we occasionally see on those maps. But I'm not sure that either of these teams are going to be leaning too hard on that this time around. I think that might be something to look forward to in the next All-Star Brawl. So overall, Threep, since we're having some mic issues here, do you think that there's any map pools that really stand out for either of these teams so far?
So with regards to the current meta, as you've mentioned, a patch has dropped and we've seen some changes, but no overall modification to the Sigori meta as it stands. What's on the PTR right now will definitely be a shakeup. Curious as to whether that will drop before the finals kick off, but for now, we are stuck in double barriers hell, and with that, we are going to have to assume that both teams will be playing a Sigori. Now, however, for Eichenwald, that might not necessarily be the case. We have seen some really solid pharmacy play coming up from a lot of different teams, and the tanks that necessarily go with that may not be Sigori. So clearly those are the two default picks. I would say that a Diva is probably maybe a solid option. Maybe give that pharmacy some cover. That does take them away from the front lines, but it's so interesting right now. Like, what are these teams really playing? What do they want to hide anything for the grand finale? This is for money, so like, yeah, if they're planning on going all the way to the end, they need to keep something in reserve, or at the very least be so confident in their best that they just understand that it can't be countered.
Yeah, and I rather agree. There's still kind of a little bit you want to leave in your pocket, considering you still have 2 more games after this. Of course, losers finals and then the actual finals. But overall, I think if we see the trend that this tournament's been going, I think we can expect a long game between these 2 teams. I think I've counted 3 or 4 games or matches that have gone 2 to 3 for both of them. So overall, I think they're going to be looking to fight their hardest, really claw out. Either way, one of these great teams is going home, and one's going to be clinging to life here in the losers bracket.
Yeah, and this is kind of the situation that these teams find themselves in, yeah? Like, it's literally, no, this is it. You had your chance in the upper bracket, you got knocked down here. Regardless of your journey to where you made it to this point, you've gone through a number of, I presume, literally life and death situations in terms of this bracket, and this is once again it. We've reached that point. One of these teams we shall be saying au revoir to, and the other team we shall be saying good luck against Astray. Now, so with that being said, we are going to be getting started on Eichenwald here soon. Scion Esports will be kicking it off on defense with What's Your Peak, lighting it up on the offense. And so while we have this chance, we are going to remind you that if you're not already following the stream, you're going to want to catch up on that immediatamente. And you're also going to want to grab us on YouTube, because let's just say you're watching this in reverse, right? Like, you've just caught this match after the fact that it was streamed. Star Esports has all the matches on YouTube, and you can just subscribe to the channel, see when we've got a new program, and it'll be on and rocking and ready to go. So, and of course, on the Twitters, we love them's like and subscribes. That's actually not how Twitter works, but like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe on our Twitter. The only downside to watching on YouTube is that you're not going to be able to vote in that wonderful MVP poll that we're going to encourage you guys to vote on throughout the entirety of this match. At the end, we'll be bringing whoever you guys think is the MVP in for a little interview. We'll have a sit down. We'll say, hey, how'd the game go? How do you feel? What other various casting questions that I certainly will come up with on the spot. And we'll have a good time. I'll have them in there, and we'll show them the love that this community gives them. So be sure, throw your votes up in there. Let them know that you guys think they're popping off. And it looks like we are just waiting on some players to get their profiles public, as is standard procedure. Make sure nobody's hiding anything shady free. But then we should be good to go on Eichenwald.
I think Sir Waltham has it nailed to a T. We are getting the R's in the chat. The hatred for Widow has been exuberantly expressed, and yeah, so Eichenwald's going to be getting started now. So for Scion Esports, oh no, there it is. Oh, it's so exciting. So rather than 3-point getting debated, we're going to get to talk more about this map. Now, the last few times that Walth and I have seen this map go into contest, we have seen Eichenwald actually not get completed. Do you think, Sir Waltham, that we have a chance to seeing it get completed today as the teams get maybe a little more desperate?
I think they're going to want to see it completed on their end. I mean, it's a cop-out answer, but it depends. I mean, I really think that if teams can push through second points, they're going to have enough time to work through third points, because third points where it's pretty much make or break. There's a lot of kind of not mind shifting, but like mental attitude shifting that needs to switch in terms of gameplay styles, because it's a little bit more indoorsy. It's not as vertical. So I think that if you have that time from second point, you're able to carry it into third very nicely. I think these teams are just going to have to show us what they're made of, though.
I think that's definitely going to be the case, and Scion Esports is absolutely leaping out of the gate with something that I never literally expected seeing at all in the slightest. It's not only is there no Pharah anywhere to be seen, it's Reinhardt Orisa combined with the Reaper May. Now, the Reaper May combo, prior to the most recent patch, as Sir Waltham mentioned, was very common. The Reaper's nerf to damage, to armor, so to speak, it was a functional nerf, not really an explicit nerf, occurred, and it was very exciting. But now it's Lucio Baptiste. This is crazy. Wait a minute. Is Melon coming out of spawn on the offense with the Doomfist? Both teams playing Reinhardt, new favorite ever.
This is going to be great. Melon, I think, is going to have trouble finding any value with this Doomfist, though. Getting those right clicks into either a Reinhardt or an Ori might be very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is amazing. The defense just lights it up. The Orisa pull grabs everyone, rings them right into Reinhardt's massive hammer niche, getting so many kills in that matchup. I think Man, the defensive Reaper seems to be doing most of the work here. There's not really a lot to say. That was such a wipe.
Yeah, Jewel just kind of posting up in that side room as soon as the rotation comes in from the offense. They seem to know that they've made a mistake into plugging right into that Reaper, and they don't, because of the halt, they don't have the ability to collect together.
So a Doomfist seems to be making its job now. The main wall doing excellent work on the defense, except that now Melon has made it happen. Jewel finds It's No Good Jr. and grabs a quick kill, but Psy also going down means that this defense is not going to have a lot to work with. Bun finds their counterpart Jewel on the Reaper. This is looking pretty good now, and I have a feeling that What's Your Peak is going to take it, and that's only because I get to speak in retrospect, because here it is, they've got it. Waltham, the ultimate stack up looks very good for defense, but they lost a point.
Yeah, right now, it's just going to be very tough. They're already getting right into it. They want to hold this secondary choke as much as possible, even dropping the Death Blossom.
Kaboom! The Death Blossom goes down. It grabs nothing except for the PMA jellies, making the kills happen. I'm loving this defense. That's what I refer to as teamwork, because a Reaper Death Blossom literally went off and actually nothing in the kill feed populated, except that the blue dominated, and that's what you want to see. The Death Blossom, if it's not wasted, is going to do something, and the rest of the team's going to make it happen. Niche! Oh no! The damage booster, the bongos from Orisa is in. They're spawn camping so hard.
No.
This is the fire strike from hell. Scion Esports makes it known that they may have given up the battle for point one, but they're not losing the war for Eichenwald yet.
If you love to watch a team on Eichenwald, this is what you hope for. You really want these real forward holds. The main wall coming in off the back of an Ori pull. It's so great right now, Fleet.
Jellies grabs Melon, the countering shatters are in, and it's not looking really super bueno. An immortality field is even being contributed to the spawn camp by Supreme. Well played. Junior goes down from the counterpart murder from Gummy again, but it looks like we might have a little bit of the case of a well-played offense from What's Your Peak. They're starting to hoard ultimates.
Yeah, they are not letting themselves get too carried away here. We saw Niche throw in an Earth Shatter earlier. We saw the Supercharger come out earlier as well. Supreme a little lackluster. And now we're going to see the ults come online, and this is great for the offense. This is what they need.
All right, countering Death Blossoms go down. It's a little bit equal on either side, but the defense stands. What's Your Peak is completely unable to get out of spawn here, and Scion is just owning this defense right now. Now, Supreme's got the Death Square online, but it does look like What's Your Peak is going to be able to get the payload moving despite that little bit of the trade-off, and that is to be fair. Any loss on the defensive side is going to result in quite a much longer spawn walk than the offense, obviously, at this point. But this is also one of the greatest chokes. The main wall goes up, but the bongo's going down on the offense. Here comes the big counter. The shadow goes in, grabs so many, and Falcon and Bun going down almost immediately. The Reaper from Jewel is getting so much work done.
Yeah, and Niche right now is really seeming to be enabled by their team. They're just walking forward, keeping the heals up. PMA Jellies seem to have this like neuro link where they just know, hey, this is where this is when we need fast, this is when we need heals, and they're absolutely using it to their tank's advantage. Great synergy with this Mei wall coming up.
Absolutely, and it's not even just the Moira that's the miss from the disparity from the other side. It's the Baptiste and the Lucio. Both teams rather rocking the Lucio. But Waltham, I would think that the Baptiste is seeming to do a lot more work here.
Yeah, it's you gotta think that the Baptiste has the ability to keep those insta kills from happening, especially crucial with this Doomfist. And another Earth Shatter being committed by Niche. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to find too much, but still, this fight is so aggressive from Scion. They are just getting right into the face of What's Your Peak.
The ult hoarding only works if you manage to coax out the ults from the other side. And Bun going down there, whoa, where's my Jewel? Where's my Jewel? They killed themselves. Oh no, I don't even know how that happened, but they're gone, and that's a huge horse of DPS lost for the defense, and that is not going to be lost on What's Your Peak. They are surging onto the cart. They've got everyone here. Blizzard goes down on the cart. It's not going to catch anyone other than Falcon, who does go down, but that's going to be a huge win for the offense, who coalesce in their separation. That's management speak. Ask your boss about it next time at work. And they murder just about everyone. Where's my Jewel? Holding on to their Death Blossom for now. Where's my Peak? Looking pretty good on this payload now with a minute left to take point B.
Yeah, an unfortunate spot for Where's My Jewel in that fight. They tried to chase down Koodle on that Moira while they were coalescing. They just weren't able to close that distance, and because of that, they weren't able to get damage on the tanks. They weren't able to close that kill on the coalescence. Nothing really resulted from it, and it just kind of left the team effectively down the man of the fight.
My most interesting point here is the barriers go in is the big Death Blossom with the Hulk! It's no good, Junior. Gets the almost pretty much guaranteed play of the game with 2 Enviro kills. Where's My Jewel strikes back just a little onto Melon, who is almost immediately murdered by Basilisk. That's, if you look at the time of the point for the payload, that's one of the fastest point B takes I've ever seen, not counting the actual time on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, sure enough, they spent a lot of time at choke, but once they got it rolling the second time, they really had it rolling. They looked like they finally had a command of how Scion was going to play here.
Oh, the Shatter goes in. It doesn't grab anyone, but the Death Blossoms are here to stay. Bun does actually find Where's My Jewel at the end of the day with a bit of that help from that Orisa Bongos. And Melon rocking up with the Doomfist was, I've been withholding, claiming that they're throwing, but the kills are coming in for them real hardcore style. And I gotta say, based on the progress of the payload, you can't say that Where's My Peak ain't in it for keeps.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think PMA Jelly's sound barrier was just a little too late, a day late and $1 short. Just wasn't quite able to find that full 6 before one of their members dropped, and because of that, when you're fighting at a disadvantage, even the sound barrier can't save you every time.
Alright, so Waltham made the claim, so now I'm going to say it. If Where's My Peak can find a few dollars more on this push, it's going to happen, but it's not going to be looking the case this time around. Melon grabs Psy, and that's the only kill that Where's My Peak is going to have enjoyment of, as the defense from Scion really makes it happen. Boy, and even a little tiny stagger onto Bud means that with 40 seconds left, this is going to be a very interesting final push on Eichenwald.
Yeah, and the nice thing here is that Supreme has that window up, which means if they want, they can set that window and just have the ability to pour a ton of damage into the team as they're pushing in, or they can save it for the mid-fight and use it to just keep their team healed up nice and healthy. They do need to be careful of Bun. He does have that Death Blossom as well as Basilisk. Having that sound barrier online, it looks like they're going to use it for a little bit of damage.
Oh, the barriers go in, grabbing, of course, the entirety of What's Your Peak. That's not going to help anyone. Bun drops the die, and whoa! Bun, what are you doing? You can't just kill the whole team, but apparently they can, and in overtime, the payload rolls into the edge with no contestation, except for PMA Jellies, but it's not enough.
Jellies tries to go in, just not able to find it, but Bun absolutely going largo on the back of that. A big, I believe it was a big Earth Shatter into the Death Blossom, left 3 members just stunned on their butts. And because of that, of course, Bun just going big.
That's one for the replays. You definitely want to be following the right character on that one. This is why I still love Overwatch. It's not that it's just a fraggers game with a DPS heavy focus. You have this team play going on. Like, you clearly have the interplay between Reinhardt's and, again, let me just say for the record, like, oh man, Reinhardt in my Overwatch January 2020? Bite my tongue. I leave for another country, come back, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's in it to win it. Waltham, what do you think is the whole key behind this?
I think that the whole key behind this is the teams are looking to just get a little bit more aggressive. At least this is definitely true for Scion. They're looking to get a little bit more aggressive. I think they feel they can do that better with the Reinhardt. They're just, I mean, we saw them basically slam dunk WIP back into their spawn for the first half of the Streets phase. And I think it comes with some success that Reinhardt feels like sometimes he's able to generate ults a lot faster than Sigma, especially if there's a lot of barriers in the way. Reinhardt doesn't really give a damn about barriers.
I 100% agree, right? Like Reinhardt and Winston have that ability where they don't give a crap about barriers. Like, oh, you're running double barriers, GG. Because Rocket Hammer don't care. And so here we go. Yeah, both teams rocking out with the Reinhardt again. And Koodle, by the way, back on that Moira. And that must have been intentional because the Mei wall split is fantastic. And man, the coalesce onto the offense is real. What's Your Peak rips into it, but they're not able to get any kills.
Yeah, neither team able to get any kills despite Maywall's kind of separating both sides. At first we see Bun's Maywall come out, and then it doesn't find anything, then Psy's. Niche already taking some early damage though, has to be careful.
I love that every time a Reinhardt shield goes down, damage goes onto them, and Nitch is going to be the one to pay the price for that first. And Falcon, by extension, goes down next. So I love it. It looks like the Reinhardt play is not necessarily peaking right now, but oh, look at this. Scion seems to be generating a bit of a snowball here with their offense. And with a lot of kills, yes, Bun goes down next thanks to some kills. Yeah, there it's going to be. So that was a pretty quick takeoff to point A. I'm curious as to how point B is going to go. The dominance actually seems to be pretty clear for Scion.
Yeah, right now it seems like Scion might be able to mitigate a lot of the problems that What's Your Peak faced because they are just going to be moving forward. They're not going to give the defense a chance to hold them at the gate, at least not a very open chance. It looks like the defense trying to take this high ground, might be looking to drop down if the side of Scion gets too far up, but Scion perhaps anticipating this, like looking like they want to hover on the inside of the castle, but now the drop's going to happen.
I agree, and oh, so here goes the Chinese that I can't pronounce. And May drops the Blossom. Sai grabs Falcon in the interim. There's a bunch of kills coming in for the... Okay, so this is the imperative, the impudence, the the initiative that I'd like to see being seized from the offense. They commit the ults very quickly, and they commit only the ults that they need to commit. And that's an extremely definitive victory by Scion. Now, not to say that What's Your Peak doesn't have anything to work with, but Scion has 4 minutes plus and comfortably to take point B.
Yeah, of all the resources, it's definitely looking like time is in Scion's pocket. A lot of ults online for both sides, as you mentioned. Falcon using that Earth Shatter probably could have saved it, but they're certainly not going to be hurting still. And now it's going to be the defense's turn to run on off Blizzard into this.
Yeah, so here we go, the dueling laser beams. All right, so that's really excellent. The laser beams going in, but also the defense starts to coalesce. Melon goes down, but this is looking very good. So this is actually what we want to see. This is what we want to see. We want to see the defense seizing control, seizing the initiative, but they spent so many ults, Walth. So many ults.
It was extremely unfortunate. Where's My Jewel decided to pop that Death Blossom. As soon as they try to use it, Bun has them on lock, has them downloaded, freezes them immediately, canceling the ults. And you can say they used a lot of ults. I'd say they invested a lot of ults because some ults just did not get a lot of use.
I agree. And so here...
Oh no!
What the hell are you talking about? It's No Good Junior makes it happen.
Again. Oh no, Sai!
Man. It's okay, so like I want to stay for the record. It's 3 minutes remaining now. We literally just said that 4 minutes plus, and it was such a good offensive timing. They've got Sizel on the bank. Defense, Where's Your Peak? Looking good by extension. I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Yeah, certainly. I think that they're looking to get a little bit of damage, the offensive Scion is, but right now it's going to be very difficult. This is the best opportunity they have.
So it looks like I think I have picked up on the strategies for both teams. Build to May ult, murder team, wash, rinse, repeat. And the trick seems to be making sure that your May generates ult in time. And I'm looking at Bun. I'm looking at Bun on What's Your Peak right now.
Yeah,
and
they will have a contest.
They're all for next fight.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to have that contest opportunity up. If nothing else, at least a few members will be up there. The May wall coming out, though, seems to read them. That's not going to quite be enough as the damage does come through. The supercharger, though, dumping in. Oh, no! Again, Melon going to be knocked out of Death Blossom.
Okay, so like that's a super big rip, so like rip in pieces. Melon on the Doom Fist, it's not gonna be enough. But wait a minute, hang on, it's No Good Junior, and they've got the Halt kills once again, and sweet jumping jelly beans, like. All right, Sir Waltham, I'm gonna state it for the record. If there was a case to play Diva, it's because It's No Good Junior is on Orisa. Holy moly, there's 1.5 minutes left on point B. And It's No Good Junior has secured 4 kills? 3 kills, I think.
Yes, just off of Halt alone.
Just off of Halt alone, not to say for the sake of them just like crapping damage down the lane. So okay, it's the offense coming back online. Sion's got a stake to May. There it is! There's the May ult. The freezes go in. Nitch goes down instantaneously, and Basilisk with another environmental. Oh, look at this.
This pit has been the bane of the offensive Scion right now. PMA Jellies gets booped off while dropping that sound barrier, meaning that nobody from the team is going to receive it. Going to be flushed right down the drain. This has been a real rough day for Ultimates everywhere. 2 Reaper cancellations, a Lucio getting booped off, a couple Ryan whiffs that we haven't really touched on, but it looks like Scion going to skip all the formalities, just try to go right through the castle, try to go right into it. They're going to be lacking a little bit in resources, especially compared to the tank sustain that's going to be coming out here, especially with the supercharger to throw down just a ton of damage.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, so here they go. They go in the upside. They're going in, but now the Mei ults lead again, but Psy goes down instantaneously. Of course, Falcon drops. Melon finds Nitch, though, and where's my Jewel? Throws the Death Blossom into it. That's going to be the deciding factor. And yes, in overtime, it looks like Scion is going to be able to take point B.
Oh, no! Jewel!
Wait! Jewel, oh, bless your... No, they didn't. Bless your heart, Jewel.
He did make it.
Where? Oh no, they did! Yes! That's a bueno situationo. Psy on the Doomfist also jumping in there at the last minute. And I'm loving it. Okay, so here we go. It's a minute 20 for Scion to take this. And they absolutely must complete the map. Solid win condition for the defense. And what's my
good Maywolf?
They're getting obliterated! Oh no!
Yeah, and this is really good for the offense. They're gonna keep this thing rolling. And just like that, they didn't give up much ult charge to the defense. They built up a little bit of their own. Not enough to have any going into this next fight, but Nitch certainly going to be trying to build some of their own. Just swinging. Already has that Earth Shatter ready to lock and load.
Yeah, and speaking of the Shatter, it goes in hardcore style, and Nitch gets a bunch. And, oh, Jewel actually contributes to a Blossom to that. Not sure if that was your best option, but I feel like maybe you're just feeling really comfy because you're obviously going to take the point here, right? No. It's the stall comps coming out from What's Ya Peak. They're making it happen. If they drive it to overtime, the Blizzard is in! A Diva is here!
Oh,
it's Logan Jr. Blossoms for days! Yes, Melon! Yes! Make it happen! I'm not rooting for any one particular team, but the kills are coming in back, by the way, for the other side. And no, if they can get rid of anyone on this team, it's 10 seconds left. Overtime's gonna start triggering. If no one gets here, they just win it.
It's gonna have to be PMA Jellies trying to touch at the last minute, but they're not gonna be around long for this world. Gets the sound barrier, but it's not, again, gonna be enough. Overtime's gonna take down 3, but oh my goodness, that was a barn burner.
What? No! That's not how Overwatch is played. Guys, you play Sigori and like you just play barriers ad nauseum. What the ding dong diddly? Oh man. Okay, so let's take it back here. Let's take it back now, y'all.
Sure.
There were some stellar plays from both sides. I really want to emphasize that. And honestly, like it really could have come down to map completion and overtime from both teams. But what's your peak? I feel like, and I said it earlier, and I didn't really mean it. Like, come on, I'm a caster. But the Mei ults seem to have actually decided the climactic points of this match, because that Mei ult came in at the end there, Wolf. I was 100% giving that to Scion. I was like, all right, cool, we're in tiebreaker mode. Like, let's do this on Eichenwald.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, it is so ridiculous that turned around the way it did. This was a match to remember, and I'm thinking throughout this that Scion and What's Your Peak seem to have, in a way, very similar flaws. Like sometimes their ults don't get value, coming through from, maybe their Reinhardts don't land the shatters. This is the stuff I was kind of hinting at earlier. But man, when they get that value, especially with Mei, you are absolutely right. It is so crucial. I really liked the aggression we saw coming out of Scion. I'm very disappointed we didn't get to see it kind of carry through. It felt like What's Your Peak had so much time on their Streets Face offense that they allowed themselves to get held up in spawn for that long, and then they were still able to take it, in overtime, granted, throughout third point.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like Scion spawn stomped What's Your Peak for ages, and What's Your Peak inevitably broke out as a spawn stomp. Almost always has to happen. Now we've seen some stuff, but in this meta, I haven't seen a spawn stomp, honestly, that effective in a long time. And Scion Esports really made it happen. And so I was genuinely expecting What's Your Peak to get held at point B. Not only did What's Your Peak affect what I would refer to, again, as one of the fastest point B takes, starting from cart move to cart stop, in, like, that I've ever seen, they then went on to finish the map. Now, granted, in overtime, but on a escort hybrid or just escort map, like, completing the map is bonkers, especially for the first team. Now, Scion Esports comes around again. They did not get spawn stomped, and they took point B. It took them a hot minute, and I'm gonna throw it out. It's no good, Junior. I'm gonna throw them out. Like, by the way, folks, MVP, it's below the stream. Vote for your favorite. But we've got some maps to go. This caster refuses to cast their vote because, you know what they say, objectivity. It's been a while since I've slept. It's no good, Junior. Dominated. And not with because like of their consistent play, because I can't keep track of everything at the same time. I'm only human. They made environmental kills happen. Waltham, you said it yourself. The pit was the demise of Scion.
It ultimately was. And unfortunately, Threep, I got some bad news for our vocal cords. Things don't look to be dying down in terms of hype, as we didn't even start on Control. Now we're going to Control. This is the deathmatchiest game mode. I'm expecting to see some, I use this phrase a lot, some slobber knockers coming out, if I'm being honest. Just some slugfests coming in.
Yeah, and we're also getting started on Night Market, and that means if we didn't see Farah on Eichenwald, I don't think we're going to see Farah here. Come on, gimme Jabate! Boom. Alright, I tried to tempt fate, and it didn't happen. We've got some time, but it looks like both teams are rolling out with what actually worked. And you know what I'm most surprised here? It's the Reinhardts. Nitch and Falcon still sitting on it. Waltham, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
I think that this may be just a switch we're going to be seeing more often, rather than just because of Eichenwald. I think people are kind of losing faith in Sigma right now. I think that at least some teams might be trying to prepare for the upcoming changes, or the changes that they might be expecting. But I mean, yeah, I think that Ryan Ori is going to start to look a lot better, still be double shield, but we're going to see these teams get on the point immediately. Where's my Jewel going with the Sim? Still out of spawn.
And the teams take exactly opposite routes to the point, which is fascinating given that they both had the Sim. Now, Scion takes... sorry, I'm allergic to apparently upper Sim strats. So Sim takes Scion's Sim, where's my Jewel? Grabs that teleporter up on the upper ground that gives them the upper hand, so to speak. You can forgive the sneeze and the pun. And yeah, so that's fascinating. And the Sims are gone as usual. Where's my Jewel? Stuck on the Sim. Koodle back on the Moira. Now, logically, that hasn't worked out so far. Maybe it'll work out on Lijiang.
Yeah, and so far, we're not, like, those were some very quick fights. We can tell by the sound, or by the look of the ultimate. Where's my Jewel actually getting separated off, but going to be recollecting. And this Sim's going to be so deadly for these tanks, they can't let her stick around forever. And they especially don't want to try to initiate shields onto that.
Yeah, and that's actually going to result in a lot of murders for What's Your Peak. The kills going pretty much exactly the way you'd expect. The barrier gets thrown down from Where's My Jewel, but like again, I feel like Waltham, we've been over this over and over again. That's what the Reinhardt hammer is so good for. Like, oh cool, you put up this like bajillion HP barrier. Neat. I'm gonna swing a hammer into it.
Yeah, it did not look like Jewel was expecting that to go too far. They were just, you know, pretty much using it for the swap off. A big slam coming in from Nitch. Oh my goodness, that's a turnaround.
What a slam! Now that is some top tier Overwatch. You commit a single ult to a fight, you win the fight off of the ult. You suffer no murders from that fight. That is supreme Overwatch. Scion clapping back in the best way.
Yeah, now I do have a degree in economics, and I feel qualified to say that that is just good ult economy right there. They're going to be investing a window into this one, trying to prevent the teams from coming out too early. And already they're kind of split. We see the DPS separated, but it looks like the defensive Scion are going to be kind of rotating back towards point.
Alright, so yeah, here we go, and that's the best place to fight. You get to contest constantly. There's the May ult, it comes out into a shatter. Psy goes down, but the Blizzard damage is done. I feel like Psy is okay being the sacrificial lamb in that situation. That, again, singular ult wins the fight 100%. Yeah, Scion looking like... Ooh, what a stall! Oh,
my goodness. No. This is the thing you need to be careful of with Scion. When they get confident, when they have a position that they know they can absolutely capitalize upon, they will. They will not rest for a second until you have pried them off you with a crowbar. And this is an uncomfortable position because now What's Your Peak has to get to point quickly.
Yeah, and with the barriers in the way, that's not really going to be a chance. Massive shatter! Getting 4, that's just death zone outside. Overtime's going to tick down. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like Scion has finally warmed up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Scion was necessarily cold to begin with. I think both these teams started off pretty warm, but Scion definitely looking more prepared on that night market. Now, here's the map I'm always excited for, Threep. It's Gardens. We're going to it. Do you think you can hope for me, buddy, that we have any chance of seeing a Pharah? Ignore the fact that some players have already locked on to Pharah.
I have to pray for Pharah because I feel like at this point it's just good practice for the inevitable shakeups that the developer update is going to drop us. So if Psy leaves spawn with Fire, just Niche and Gummy, do it, you coward. Yes! All right, we did it. PMA Jellies on the Mercy, Psy on the Pharah, and it's no barriers coming out from Scion. They've got Niche and Gummy on the Hamster and the Diva respectively. This is what it's all about. The Reinhardt Orisa still coming out from What's Your Peak, and we're going to see if the damage is just too much from Scion.
Yeah, and right now I actually think the tank light-up from Scion is going to have a tough time. They don't have anything to avoid the May freeze, to avoid the Reaper damage, but early kills on the Moiras are great.
Koodle is playing one of the most survivable heroes in the game. They're the first to go down. Where's my jewel? Making sure the Tracer does not go unnoticed. Melon is going to demech Gummy, and PMA Jellies is going to be a casualty in the point take, but Scion... this is kind of like a wet dream for me, like right now. Like I apologize for the imagery, but good God, look at this.
Yeah, it is looking juicy right now. We're already seeing the McCree swaps come out. Koodle as well, getting that hit scan in. Falcon on the Hog might be trying to lock down this ball. We'll have to see if that's going to be on Niche to give them that opportunity. Doesn't really find anything out of the initial though.
But Psy's Barrage is going to find 2, grabbing No Good Jr. and Koodle immediately. The res, of course, goes into on the side because you're not allowed to Barrage and not die. That's against the rules. Melon, again, finds a kill. Not going to happen for anything substantial. Sion's going to grab 50% here, and they are seemingly, literally uncontested.
Yeah, not a whole lot to really... talk about in terms of What's Your Peak. They're going to keep trying to change things up. I guess change things up, and then they're going to keep trying this new comp. And we'll have to see if it works for them, because they know they're going to have to play on this interior area. Otherwise, just going to get farmed and knocked around by a Pharah. A good Maywall coming out. We'll have to see if that Nano can initiate anything, though.
Oof, the Tracer Bomb goes in. On the back of that, mostly the kills. Gummy's self-destruct actually is going to grab Koodle on that one, and I super... fact that Diva's ultimate actually showed up in the kill feed.
Yes.
Another team kill out from Scion, and I'm not seeing any real solid counters out from What's Your Peak. They haven't changed anything, so it looks like they're committing to this 85% push, and they may not even get back in point into time to make it actually matter.
Correction, they've changed from the McCree onto the Tracer. Not sure what the intent of this was, if they're just trying to win the ground game hard, or if they have a different tactic here with this Tracer. Maybe they think they can win the 1v1 duels. They're already up 1 though, so that's a good start for the now attacking What's Your Peak.
And Melon did manage to touch, so that could have been actually their sole goal. They even get out alive, so kudos to that. PMA Jellies also goes down just after resurrecting Niche, but that's actually the kill you want. Gummy goes demeched. Where's my jewel goes down. This is okay, so where's my peak? Shattering all expectations if you're watching the game, and bam! Okay, now we're talking. What's Your Peak are in prime position to make this pulled pork really work as a defense. Could this be a 0 to 99%?
Yeah, and on the plus side, Where's My Jewel has that pulse bomb, but it's going to be difficult to use it against many of the members of What's Your Peak. Bun has that freeze form. It's no good. It has that shift ability, that fortify. Falcon has the breather. Koodle has the immort field. There's going to be a lot they have to consider if they really want to get some high value out of it. It's going to be tough.
Oh, Tracer Bomb manages to take away at least the immortality field from Koodle. Let's see if anything else. Oh no! Where's My Jewel even finishes up the kill? The Barrage Gas Basilisk. All healers down. Sai murders themselves. Where's My Jewel murders the Roadhog. What Melon? Melon with the Tracer Bomb. Both healers in a single stick, but is it enough? Because Bun is down. It looks like yes.
Oh my goodness.
For now, the point stays.
This is so close right now. It is a Lucio and a Tracer on point, just trying to weave in and out, maintain that point progress as much as possible. They're not going to be able to get it, and right now they just got to fish for something. They got to make any sort of progress.
Spawns came back just that much faster for Scion, but Koodle grabbing Niche means that Where's My Peak hasn't given up on Lijiang Tower yet. Bun grabs Sai as well, who has switched back onto the Doomfist to get something happen. Diva ult gets nothing. Bun grabs it right at the end. No more ult charge for them for the end game. Koodle picking up Where's My Jewel. The Niche Mines grabbing Melon, picking up their counterpart on the Hamster. It's looking very good for Scion.
Yeah, you got to think that Scion's going to eventually clear out the point. The overtime is going to tick down. They're going to take it. Look at that. I can predict the future. And with that, we're going to be seeing Scion Esports take our second map. That makes it an even 1-1. We're on the way to a 3-2, dude.
Where's your peak? What's your peak? Everyone says what's your peak? Everyone says where, but nobody asks how's your peak? And how's your peak must at this point be feeling a little bit pressured, because that's now a bit of the comeback and very definitive. We're looking at 1-1, and I would argue Eichenwald was not necessarily What's Your Peak's guaranteed map. Scion? No, Lijiang Tower was owned by them. They had the deed. They had it registered with the township, and What's Your Peak just they didn't know, and they trespassed and they got stomped. So they're gonna have the map ban advantage, or not the map ban, the map pick advantage coming up, and I feel like, are we seeing another hybrid map?
I kind of want to, like, after,
Yeah,
like, let me rephrase that. I don't know if I want to see King's Row, because I feel like, I guess I'm just in the mindset of, we've seen King's Row run with Sig Ori. So King's Row first point defenses are very rarely supremely impressive. But if we're seeing these teams rotate onto the Reinhardt, and now we're talking about some play that I would genuinely be interested in seeing from these players. I think that might be a good option. I don't know if Scion can get us aggressive with it on King's Row, especially on something like defense. They might be able to during the first choke on the Streets phase. Other than that, we'll have to find out. I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna see some objective-based gameplay either way.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case, especially because we can't actually go back to Control. The next team literally cannot pick Control. Lijiang Tower has been played, and I'm super curious. How does Scion Esports proceed from here? Because they do have a map ban. They do have it.
Yeah, it looks like they're definitely kind of thinking it over. I don't think they'll want to, ban any control points, obviously. I mean, even if they did, it's not that they couldn't play a control point either way, so there's no point in banning them. I think I have to try to remember the map pool. I don't have my trusty notepad in front of me. I don't know. I don't think Anubis, which I believe is in the map pool, is going to be it. Volskaya as well. Hollywood, maybe Hollywood, if we're expecting something. I don't know. I think the possibilities are pretty great here.
Right, and I don't know, if you're Scion Esports, what do you go with the ban here? Do you grab one of those escort or hybrid maps just to kind of make it, just lock it in? Maybe you have a escort map that you're super a big fan of. So you drop Rialto because of course you drop Rialto, or maybe you drop King's. I'm sorry, did I just say dropping Rialto because?
Yeah, well.
There it is. So, okay, so they did in fact drop Rialto. Now it's on to What's Your Peak, to possibly take the bait? Do you pick up Watchpoint Gibraltar? Are we gonna?
Oh no, I
want Watchpoint Gibraltar so bad.
I think that the hype level would be through the roof if we saw Watchpoint Gibraltar. I don't know if my old man heart can take that much, Threep. I would love to see Watchpoint Gibraltar. I need it to not be Watchpoint Gibraltar right now.
Right? Like in this particular situation. I don't know. Let's assume they're still gonna play Reinhardt, which has actually been the case for 2 maps now. Now again, this is I'm still kind of surprised about that. So if they continue to play Reinhardt, I want Gibraltar very deeply. Deeply. Because maybe Anubis. Well, What's Your Peak has selected Anubis. I am in it. Oh man. Why? Why would you ever willingly pick an assault map?
I don't know. It's interesting because we actually saw Hanamura banned a little bit earlier. We saw the Hanamura ban come out. I believe it was from What's Your Peak. So clearly it's not that they wanted to play, any old assault map. I think they have a very particular strength on Anubis that they might be expecting to have a particular strength on Anubis. Who knows how this game's going to shake out at this point? I'm flipping a coin at this rate to give my best guess. But either way, we're talking Anubis, and that gives me the one time to talk about this hero, and it's Junkrat. We might see him on first point. I cast a little bit of Junkrat play on Anubis earlier this weekend. That being said, I don't expect it. I'd love it though. I would love to see it. It's a pretty good defensive stall hero, or not a good stall hero, but a defensive hero for spam.
I agree, honestly, and I want to say for the record that Junkrat was actually originally classified as a defense hero. I think it's been years, but no, we've seen teams play the Junkrat to excellent efficacy, so to speak, especially on the defense, and that was back in the barriers meta. The barrier break meta with the Orisa Siege, where like the barrier uptime was just like constant.
Yeah.
And I don't. Okay, so here's the defense. And by the way, we did not have a side to switch. Scion Esports is elected, of course. Honestly, like, what was anyone expecting? Scion Esports is going to be sticking it up on the defense, and they are not going to be running the Junkrat. It actually is looking very identical to the comps that they were running on Eichenwald. We have Koodle for What's Your Peak back on the Moira, which I'm not necessarily a fan of in this particular situation. There's still no diva to really make them completely inefficacious. But all right.
Yeah, I want to talk about like the Lucio pick here. It's always confusing to me. I guess not confusing. It just seems interesting that teams would pick to run a Lucio on defense when your positioning and obtaining that position might not be the most essential. Either way, I think that TMA Jelly is a very good player to put on.
Wow, what a boop. Alright, so Basilisk goes for the not Hail Mary boop. That was very well calculated with Wall Ride Central. And they boop the entirety of Scion off the high ground that is so popular for Anubis' defense, and it results in absolutely no kills for the offense.
Yeah, Sai almost dropping, though they got so dangerously close by Koodle's right click. Not going to be able to find anything, though. It looks like the changeup going to be coming in from What's Your Peak, going onto the left side this time around, pushing right into this point. They don't have the Maywall up to section off the defense, though.
The defense then actually uses their Maywall to make it happen. The cooldown for the offensive Maywall comes right back up on time. The defense making it happen. Supreme goes down. Where's My Jewel follows after with a Koodle Moira ult. That's speedy ultimate, and that's justifying that Moira pick right there. Bun grabs Niche, and it's looking like the offense is going to be securing their point A take any minute now.
Yeah, and overall it looked like What's Your Peak able to really punch through there, punch in, a relatively quick fashion. Not a lot of ult charge built up for either sides except for the Reinhardt from Niche. Of course, those Reinhardts able to build up quite a bit of ult charge as we move along. But speaking of moving along, that second point going to become unlocked, and right now, I think this is where Melon has a chance to really kind of pop off on this Tracer. If you can get that or on the Reaper, excuse me, if you can get that Reaper kind of implanted, embedded on the point, it makes him such a burden to push into. You have to see if in execution it works, though.
So if Melon wasn't so close to their Death Blossom, I was going to be so excited to be like, oh man, Waltham has advanced knowledge. It's going to be Tracer time for Melon again. Yeah! It's not. So no, it's just going to be the usual May Reaper. And the barriers go in. Oh, so here we go. What's Your Peak making their entrance? And that's just going to be death because Psy dropped the May ult, which means victory. Now, this is interesting because Scion Esports, looking at quite the ultimate defense here. What's Your Peak? They have the big 6.
Oh, and they are doing Melon nasty right now. Melon already has the Death Blossom. They gotta not care about that ult charge, and now they just sent them on a 6-second spawn. Maywell coming out to try to segment off the defense. It doesn't look like the offense is really gonna be able to get aggressive enough.
Massive stagger. Yeah, that's actually point of aggression time for the defense. Scion definitely looking to take advantage, grabbing up the 5th ult for themselves. Psy slowly building to that blizzard for themselves. Super curious if we're going to be looking at the ult apocalypse, but for now, it looks like What's Your Peak is going to be settling into a standard push. They're going to be coming up the right side of Anubis. The bongos are down, and wow, Where's My Jewel just makes it happen immediately. Basilisk, oh no, way too many ults committed by the offense. The timing of which is definitely a question for suspect and probably going to be brought up in a VOD after this match.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it was basically 3 ults for 1 ult, and that's probably not the most ideal Gummy using that supercharger. And Noka Jr., I can understand using the supercharger kind of in response, keeping pace with that damage, but the sound barrier and Earth Shatter that didn't really seem to have any follow-up or value to it. You're gonna be leaving the offense team a little bit reeling here. And right now the Maywalls coming in. These Maywalls always prove to be a problem on this left side push for the offense.
The Halt Fire Strike combo is one of my new favorites. It builds that Reinhardt ultimate so blank and quickly. And so yeah, the teams are settling in, the Maywalls are going in, the Blizzard is down, there's some freezes on the board, and is the kill's gonna happen? It looks like actually yes. Melon does fall, the Shatter goes out for the counter side from Niche. They're gonna grab Bun, possibly as just a side effect of the zoning. And Scion Esports effects a very excellent repulsion here.
There you go. And as we look ahead, kind of reset the board, wiped the slate clean in terms of ultimates. Now we're looking at teams not really having anything too close. The Orisa is probably the closest thing we got considering. And right now we're just seeing some great combos come in from this defense, the Halt and Fire Strike moving in, and you got it absolutely right. I would love to see perhaps a change of path coming through from What's Your Peak. It looks like they're going to try main this time around, and I can't say I fault them for it.
Yeah, in fact of the matter is Niche, after that Shatter, is building up so much ultimate charge with that Halt Fire Strike combo, and it's making it happen. It's no good. Juglin Jr. looking very low, but and yes, they are down, and this push is down a major barrier. Melon finds PMA Jellies, but with the loss of Koodle, it's going to be very difficult to move this in here. And yeah, despite the loss of Supreme via the Basilisk, with a minute 30 plus looking, Scion Esports has everything they need to succeed at this particular map, and I can't really say the same for What's Your Peak.
Yeah, and What's Your Peak has a couple of ultimates online, and by a couple I mean 4. They have 4 online. No DPS ultimates, but oftentimes you don't need those. I think that given how they're playing right now, you're trying to go aggressive against Scion, and that's a very tough mistake.
Yeah, speaking of that aggression, it doesn't help if Scion takes the initiative away from you. You have the massive blizzard coming out from Psy. It grabs exactly everyone it needs to, which is to say, it enables kills. And yeah, Where's My Jewel makes it happen, and they have their own Death Blossom now to counter Melons, who doesn't actually have Death Blossom, I should say that for the record. And the ults that either teams is running into, if they're not keeping track, this could be the make or breaker. We've got Shatters, we've got Bongos both sides. It's going to be Koodle's laser beams versus Where's My Jewel's Death Blossom.
And we're gonna have to see which one comes out superior. Like we said, last fight, most likely PMA Jellies. Very close to that sound barrier, which is gonna give a lot of sustain for the defense. Earth Shatter doesn't land on too much on either side.
Jewel is the only individual taken down. They come up immediately and enact the Death Blossom goodness. They get charged very quickly. Nitch, however, fire strikes their counterpart and is also summarily killed by Bun. But the defense is going to sustain the advantage here with their superior respawn time. Gummy gets frozen. They're safe behind the May wall and their own shield, so they're good. Psy goes down, but it looks like that's not going to matter as the stall comp is back from both sides. Where's My Jewel switches onto a Bastion of all things, just to make it happen, but there's not going to be any percentage eked out from Where's My Peak.
Yeah, the Bastion probably a little too heavy-handed, but in the end, if you know the enemy team has to trickle in one by one, that Bastion just has a shooting gallery, as they probably won't have shields, and even if they do, by the time they use them to block that damage, well, their shield's dead. So, overall, a good defense from the side of Scion. What's your peak now in kind of a insurmountable task of trying to hold first point all to themselves? 3. How do we feel about that?
It's been a long time since I've seen a full hold onto point A on Anubis. And just based on that alone, it looks like this is either going to be a draw or Scion is going to eke out the 2-1 lead that they are probably so desperately seeking over What's Your Peak. Now, as we've stated, the most, in 3.007's most probably egregious opinion, a draw or Scion victory are the two most likely options. But if What's Your Peak can do a full hold on point A, they've got a good shot. Their comp coming out doesn't make me think that they're really thinking about that.
Yeah, I think Jewel probably having a laugh on that Bastion. Maybe switching over to the Widow, probably a little bit more likely. Certainly not a definite must pick on this map, but a lot of players try to get those early Widow headshots, try to open up that fight a little bit, then switch on to, in this case, I'm assuming it'd be the Reaper, because that's what Jewel's been playing a little bit.
Yeah, and I do kind of miss it, like the whole idea that Widowmaker v Widowmaker was actually going to be the deciding factor, combined with, of course, the team play from both sides. So Scion leaping out of the gate, they're taking the right side, and that's fascinating. It indicates they're definitely not heading for the right side. Yeah, they go right up the middle, and yeah, this is awesome. The Maywall goes in. It's going to lock in the defense, surprisingly. It looks like you're locking off the offense's intro to the point, and that's actually not the case. You're basically stopping the defense from spreading out and eliminating any players or really surviving. And yeah, so Scion's going to take that way too quickly.
I mean, a first point flip. There is going to be something around the lines of 6 minutes on the clock. 6 minutes and 15 on the clock. For Scion to get one tick, this is going to have to be a gargantuan defense from What's Your Peak. And frankly, it's a tough ask for anybody.
Yeah, now Melon being on the Doomfest makes me choose. That's a 5-man shatter, so yeah, that's just all the kills. Defense has extremely a mega advantage here in terms of spawn recap. But I don't think that's going to matter because they only need a third. They get it. Scion Esports wraps up Anubis, lickety-split. And I guess that's... well, that's the thing. And one of the reasons why I utterly despise assault maps.
Yeah, Scion looking very rapid in that instance. They got that big 5-man shatter off the back of that team fight. And... I mean, from there, how do you regroup as a defense to make yourself not lose that instantly? It's a very tough thing. Once that shatter hits, you gotta say it's gonna be tough for What's Your Peak to even continue.
Yeah, this is now the stage of the game, match point, so to speak, where What's Your Peak have to engage in some PMA activities. That is to say, positive mental attitude. Because if I were What's Your Peak, and I, being an extremely exhausted, very tired IT professional, I would be furious at this point, because this is apparently something that I do in my free time for fun. And you're down 2-1. You have taken the first map. You've proven that you can win. But you just got streaked, so to speak. So, This is the big moment. You picked a map and it got completely turned around on you. The bonus round here is at the very least that you may not choose an assault map once again. I don't know what What's Your Peak goes with. Do you think, Wolf, that they actually go back to a bit of that escort action, hybrid action, or actually do they maybe just go pure escort?
I don't know. We do still have some control point, and I don't think we should forget that I believe. Oh no, it was Scion that picked the Lijiang Tower, I believe. So
indeed,
I don't know. I think What's Your Peak probably gonna be looking to avoid those.
Oh wow! Wait, holy moly!
Good grief! There is so much.
It happened so quickly.
So Scion going to elect to ban Watchpoint or Busan. Watchpoint. They're gonna ban Watchpoint. Dyslexia acting up is somehow making the Watchpoint look like Busan. And in immediate response, What's Your Peak gonna go on to Oasis. So we actually will be seeing some more control. I'm very curious. We've seen that Scion can play these Reinhardt situations very well. In fact, I think that this may be a very tough one given University. If that rolls first, I think it's going to put Scion in an early 1-0 lead going into Gardens and City Center.
So, the possibility being also that What's Your Peak really super crazy loves this map. Now, you know what the funny thing about this, Wolf, is?
Yes.
Is that in fact, almost every single map that has been chosen / picked / played so far have been maps where the last few games we've hooked up with have actually seen a lot of Pharah play. Now, I can only assume that neither of these teams really dig the Pharah, and in this particular setup of the competition that we've been looking at, I guess that's not necessarily what you want to go with. I mean, it's the Reinhardt. Maybe your positioning is going to be a little off. Where's my jewel? I swear to goodness, please come out of here with that Genji.
That'd be some old school dive. This is the vintage dive coming out from Scion. We have seen some dive come out on these maps before. We used to see Sigma Winston, I believe, or Hammond Winston. It doesn't look like it's going to stick around for too long. Niche going on to the Reinhardt. I think Gummy on this Diva is, I guess, irrelevant now. I was going to say maybe some Pharah prevention, but neither team looked like they're going to pick that option either way.
So the Rhine Orisa I can super dig with, but the efficacy of the Symmetra pick I'm questioning. Again, we have two opposite entrances onto the point from either team. Melon back on the Doomfist looking for some of that quick kill goodness. It's no good. Junior actually goes down extremely quickly, but it's countered by Where's My Jewel. So a tank for a DPS, but it's Reaper, so maybe this could actually be a still relatively even fight. Nay, Falcon actually finds Niche immediately. And so it's a tank for a tank. Niche goes down. Nope. It's actually What's Your Peak. They're making it happen. Looking at that Melon, finding the kill into the healer to really wrap that fight up.
Yeah, and What's Your Peak looking like they're coming out a little bit stronger now. As soon as Bun kind of got in the middle of that entire team fight with Scion, they were able to put down a lot of damage, get that first opening kill. I believe it was onto Where's My Jewel, which kind of has already caused a big disparity in ult charge between the two Reapers.
Agreed. And Where's My Jewel? I think we've been usually seeing a lot of... Wow, the Fire Strike again, but Supreme actually grabs the kill into Basilisk. So it's a loss of speed, lots of healing for... whoa, What's Your Peak early on, but Melon grabs VMA Jellies also, so that's a trade back and forth. Both healers down. Niche, look at Niche go. Koodle and Falcon both going down to the Hammer of Doom. But it's just an all-out brawl on the point. It's actually going to be going in What's Your Peak's direction, if it not for Psy also getting a bit of that stagger. I guess you can call it a stagger. Both teams having a bit of the equal walk.
Yeah, I'm surprised that fight got as low in manpower as it did for either side. Usually we see nice, clean, like, you know, fights that end with 5-man advantages at the end or 6-man, but very rarely do we see like that 1 or 2-man at the end like we saw here. Overall, these teams are scrapping it out.
Yep, and the May Blizzard goes in with a damage boost. Matrix going in up on the high ground, benefiting no one, and not even Supreme, who drops down immediately. Bun drops the Death Blossom into what anyone would assume to be a lost fight, and it is in fact not going to make a lot of difference. Koodle grabs Supreme. It's not going to matter for the point switch, except for the fact that that fight drags on long enough for What's Your Peak to grab 74%.
Yeah, and I don't think What's Your Peak going to be too unhappy about that. They invested quite a few ultimates, mostly the DPS in Bun and Melon. Bun, I don't think really able to find anything with that Death Blossom. A little bit risky of an ult as well, but in the end, it is used. They're going to go in with a Supercharger again to try to recapitalize upon this. It gets taken out immediately.
Yeah, Bongo's dropped, Bongo's down, Psy eliminating that very quickly. The barrier's even going in a massive shatter. And by the massive shatter, I mean a shatter happened in Overwatch 2020 January. You can quote me on that one. Button finds Niche, and that's the only kill that What's Your Peak are going to be proud of. 35% for Scion Esports with at least one ult in the bank. Coming up to a bit of a problem for What's Your Peak. They've got barriers, they've got the laser beams. This is going to be an interesting push from them.
Yeah, it really will. And right now, I think What's Your Peak has one goal moving into the rest of these fights and the rest of the series. Keep Falcon blocking Niche's Earth Shatters. If you're able to rob that Reinhardt the value, I think these fights go a little bit more in your favor. But if he's dead, it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah, I can't really see if that Immortality Matrix really did a lot of help for them, but it definitely made them a little more, how should I say this, empowered, aggressive. They eliminated What's Your Peak's offense very quickly.
Yeah, and we're going to see Scion, we're going to see Niche rolling back in a quick fashion. And it looks like the side of What's Your Peak kind of taking a moment themselves to get regrouped here. They're both going to have both support ults up, so that means if this fight drags on for too long, they will have advantage. The sound barrier to answer the immediate blizzard though.
Yeah, I love the immediate blizzard. That's the preemptive ult. That's the one that makes it happen. There's no more Sigma to even attempt to eat it up. Diva, of course, is in no way, shape, or form being played. We have one fight territory from Scion. They have completely locked this up, if not for the kills coming out from What's Your Peak. But Koodle and Melon are not enough alone to secure this point, and with overtime enacted and only a stall in play, blocked immediately by a Mei wall, we're going up 1-0 and game match point for Scion Esports.
Yeah, Scion needs to try to change, What's Your Peak needs to try to change things up a little bit. They're not quite in as favorable a spot as we saw them at the beginning. They're going to be going on to University though, and this is one of those maps that I said kind of favors Scion a little bit with that aggressive Rhine play that we've been seeing. So we're going to be looking to keep an eye out. If we saw Niche was aggressive before, Falcon really going to have to be on their toes to kind of play around this.
Yeah, right. So here we have the University section of Oasis Tower, and I am loving how this is going to be coming out here. Where's my Jewel once again running onto that Symmetra, and they're zooming it in. They're reapering back onto the point. They're going to be a little behind their team, but they'll be just in time for the team fight. Melon back on the Doomfist, and I can't, based on the results, necessarily say that that's your best pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of walls to knock people into with Melon, but if you don't get those early kills, it makes it very hard to initiate Doomfist in that mid-fight, especially if your team's in those hallways and just getting blasted by a Reaper, separated by the Mei, and just otherwise controlled and murdered.
Yeah, and so Scion is actually going to, despite the last round of this particular control point matchup, going to be taking that point very quickly. Psy and their counterpart, non-existent, it's going to be the one Mei ult on the field. And I'm super curious as to how this is going to rock out. There's a lot of damage coming in from the other side. What's Your Peak looking very spicy, and I just don't see how they're busting through this.
It's going to be tough. Melon taking a lot of early damage is certainly not the way to go. And from there, the kills are just going to collapse. I mean, there's going to be one or two to kind of collect for the side of Scion. Probably not going to be enough. And I do not like that window coming out from Supreme, to be sincere.
Yeah, it was basically a solo window. It only benefits them, and it doesn't result in any kills. They, in fact, themselves get murdered. I love the stall from Gummy, securing Scion a little bit of extra percent, stopping on the answer to the life of universe and everything. We are moving on to What's Your Peak, picking up percentage for themselves.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling pretty okay about this. You can see Melon tucked into the point, trying to just keep that choke a threat that Doomfist right click can a little bit more difficultly, or you have to charge it up a little bit longer, but can throw the Mei or Reaper into a wall. The Earthshatter trying to come out, doesn't look like it lands.
Yeah, and regardless of whether the Earthshatter would have generated anything, that Mei ult and the Mei wall were just so on point. It's there's almost no way that What's Your Peak can come out from that. Melon is going to be doing their best. They're getting some healing from a last-minute Moira Orb. But aside from Basilisk stalling, hilariously, almost exactly to where Scion took it, Scion's going to be affecting a retake, and was 43-43 before they took it away. And I'm kind of excited about this. This is actually a little bit of the back and forth.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit more like a tennis match instead of just bowling where you're just knocking down the opposing pins. And right now, we're seeing the side of What's Your Peak try to line up, but Scion taking some very early advantage.
Wow, the barriers go down, and that's going to be a no-no from Bun. Dropping their Death Blossom and getting absolutely nothing. Well played, all involved from both sides. What's Your Peak may have necessarily felt that they had an option there for that most important DPS ult, and it resulted in absolutely nothing other than a mostly team wipe. So Scion looking almost in one fight territory here, and a couple of ults to back it up too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be up to What's Your Peak to make the resources they have count. They're going to be using that supercharger very early on. The Maywell, however, blocking a lot of it.
Oof. And that's some kills going in there. Koodle with the laser beams finding the murders. And What's Your Peak? Yeah, no, don't count them out just yet. They take the point. They finish off the team kill. And this is why we're still here. Oh yeah, it's an Overwatch game now.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is, sure, they invested the ults they had to, but they still managed to keep some or have some at the end of the game. What's Your Peak going to be having that Earth Shatter from Falcon, which, you know, given Niche's playstyle, might have an opening considering that Niche likes to swing quite a bit.
All right, the Blizzard is out. The damage is in. The Doomfist ultimate has landed. Bun finishes off that Immortality Matrix and then goes on to actually murder the rest of the team. Falcon's going to pick up the kill for Psy. Melon grabs a healer. And What's Your Peak all of a sudden turning this into a bit of a comeback. With 85% just about on the field, they are roughly into one fight territory.
Yeah, nobody tell Bun Homicide is illegal because this is just some great gameplay we can't have without it. And right now, it's the only ult that's going to be online is a Coalescence from Poodle. Not sure if they're going to be able to use it to an optimum, but it seems like they're certainly going to try.
Melon finds PMA Jellies right into the wall. They're down, so that's a massive source of healing gone. Rather, a source of healing gone. The big damage coming out potentially from Scion. It looks like that wall and the bongos last just enough, though, to make it happen. Most of the entirety of What's Your Peak down. They take the point. It's overtime. There's no one left from What's Your Peak, and that's actually it. Ugh, a last-minute stand from What's Your Peak, but Scion Esports ekes it out in the end.
Yeah, Scion came in here. They're looking a little bit questionable, but they managed to pick it up. I guess it really was a case of them heating up 3 because they did not let off the throttle at all in any fashion. What's Your Peak? We had a great time watching them. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to pull it through. Hopefully, we'll see them next time. But man, what a performance coming out of Scion.
I am super excited for this, to see how Scion keeps on going with this one, because they've demonstrated that at the very least, there is the potential for a team like What's Your Peak to maybe upset them a little. What's Your Peak came in there at the end of that Oasis matchup, and they honestly kind of did more damage than I thought they were going to do. And especially in the Eichenwald matchup again, they came in there at that last minute. Scion was about to finish the map, and What's Your Peak was pretty much like, no, real quick, we're just gonna make it so that you can't win the map. And so I super like that, and I feel that if a team can capitalize on what Scion Esports' maybe perceived weaknesses are, maybe they can come out on top. Honestly, Scion did really, really well with that Ryan Orisa matchup, and I'm super digging it. I wonder, I truly wonder if their Bane is waiting for them at the end of the line, because I think What's Your Peak maybe was approaching the recipe and just couldn't push it through to the end.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think we'll have to feel out how these games go. I mean, you know, a lot can happen for these teams, you know, internally and on the field over the next week, I suppose it'll be. So I think that it's just going to come down to what shakes out of the pan at the very end. Overall, I'm very excited that we had some pretty good games. What's Your Peak definitely still having a few moments there. I definitely liked seeing the plays on Eichenwald. Eichenwald was so hype. I'm still a little bit dizzy from it, Threep.
Yeah, and I feel like that's fair. Scion pretty much showed up on Lijiang Tower. They absolutely demonstrated that the closeness of Eichenwald may not have necessarily been as close as it needed to be. I'm still kind of rubbing my brain like Jackie Chan meme style over this Reinhardt play. Clearly both teams agree. I don't want to say both teams agreeing to play it. That's weird. The nature of both teams' compositions kind of made it that the Reinhardt play worked out a lot for Scion. I was super digging the tank play from both sides. There was a lot of moments where the kill feed just kind of like lit up all of a sudden with either Niche or or Falcon, and I feel like that's kind of indicative of maybe where this particular patch is sitting at the moment. Maybe these two teams have figured out something that the other teams haven't, and that the Rhine Orisa is here to stay. But clearly Scion Esports were the ones to push it through to the end. But Waltham, I think we have a very special announcement to make.
Well, Threep, I'm still having the vapors. Why don't you go ahead and take over that announcement for me?
Okay. And so, we have an announcement which I actually don't quite understand. And I'm hoping that there will be some news as to how it will be handled, because with all due respect, the MVP has been announced. I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this announcement, and I'll wait for official word. No, okay, so there. Okay, no, hang on. It's been official. There's been some hiccups with tags. It is in fact Melon from What's Your Peak, Doomfist extraordinaire.
Yeah. So overall, a good option. What's Your Peak? I'm kind of excited to hear what their mindset is moving forward. I mean, I guess not moving forward, because unfortunately that's kind of the end of the line for them here. But what's their mindset post de facto, I guess? How do they feel that was?
So, and honestly, one of the other things that I'm super excited to hear about is the mindset behind playing the Doomfist in this particular squad. And yeah, no, I would be super curious to see What's Your Peak is doing in the nigh future. Do they think that this is their peak? I don't think so. I think they have a lot of potential for running maybe some potentially unorthodox compositions. We saw Melon dip into some other heroes during this particular game. The Doomfist was not their only, shall we say, resort. But I think this may not necessarily be the end, you know? This could be it. So without further ado, let us welcome Melon into the chat.
Well, I believe we are waiting on Melon to still get connected, having some Discord issues as it's... I mean, of course, as soon as I start talking about the issues we're having, it just starts magically disappearing. It just floats away, and we're able to get everybody here connected and universified. Melon, how are you doing, my friend?
I mean, we lost, but not bad.
All right. So it's rough times, of course. You have to take the lumps with the highs. So, I'm gonna ask, how long have you been with What's Your Peak, and how you feeling with the whole? So clearly, sorry. Let me rephrase that. We saw a lot of Doomfist tonight, and there were a lot of times where that Doomfist play actually came in super major clutch. So, how are you feeling on the Doomfist, and how are you feeling with the future patches for what your next hero choices might be?
Well, I'm really comfortable on the Doomfist. Like, I'm more comfortable on Doomfist than Reaper. So, it was just like a comfort pick for me to play Doomfist. And it worked really well, it worked really well at times and other times didn't, but... And I'm kind of wish Doom would come back to meta, because he's really fun to play.
Yeah, definitely don't disagree with that.
No doubt there. Now, would you say that that he's one of your favorite characters to kind of play? I guess let me ask it this way: do you think that this is a meta that kind of tailors to Doomfist, or do you think that it was kind of you running him despite him not being most optimal? Like, did you pick him because he was a very strong character for you, or because you think he still works well in this situation?
It's a little bit of both, because Reaper is just the best DPS right now, pretty much, like tied with May, which is why they're meta. But Doom, like, isn't a throw pick. He's still pretty viable, and yeah.
So there were a lot of clutch plays that What's Your Peak actually was pulling through there at the end, and on Oasis, I honestly think it was anyone's game. For What's Your Peak moving forward, so clearly this tournament is not the be-all, end-all, and there's probably much more in store for What's Your Peak. What are you all planning on doing on next?
You mean like the next tournament?
Next tournament, next meta, how you guys planning it out?
What's the future plans for What's Your Peak in general?
Well, we're definitely gonna play out this OD season and see how we do. We're obviously shooting for top 32 in playoffs.
And good luck.
And yeah, this was the first tournament I think we've been in, and top 4 isn't bad at all for the first tournament, so...
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and finally, Melon, do you think you guys are going to be able to walk away with kind of a lot to write down in your notebooks of things you do well, things you can improve upon? What do you think do you think you guys have picked up anything from these matches, from either, the tournament in general or specifically against Scion? And if so, what are some of those things you think you can pick up on?
Scion, I think Scion actually taught us quite a bit. At the end of the match, Bun was saying that he noticed that Scion went for pull fire strikes a lot, which gave them a really big advantage in ult charge. So we started to pick up on that, and then he told It's No Good Junior and Falcon to start doing that. So that's one of the things we learned from them.
It's fantastic to hear. I like to hear that quick adaptation on the spot. I think that's about it from my end. Threep, do you have any more final questions here for Mel?
Not any final questions, but more of a best wishes and good luck, Melon. I frankly, as a breath of fresh air into this particular Overwatch meta, super enjoyed your play, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what What's Your Peak can do in the future.
Thank you.
All right, take care, Melon.
Thanks.
And with that, Threep, we are about ready to wrap it up and pack it up moving forward. I guess there's nothing left to do but to say goodbyes and turn off the lights.
So yeah, without further ado, I'm super proud of both what these teams are accomplishing here today. We're looking forward to seeing Scion Esports match up against Astray, and we're of course sad to see What's Your Peak go, but without further ado, this has been Threepwood007. You can catch me on Twitch or Twitter at Threepwood007.
And likewise, I have been Sir Waltham. You can catch me on Twitch or Twitter, similarly at Sir Waltham. For those of us here at the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl, we want to thank you guys for tuning in and hopping in chat. Don't forget to show us those social media endorsements. We got the Twitch, we got the Twitter, we got the YouTube, and we got the Discord. The great four, as it goes to know. And we hope to see you guys next time. I believe our next game is going to be on Wednesday, so be sure and catch that. For those of us here once again at the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl, I want to wish you guys a great night and be sure to stay safe out there, and everybody.